Hi, my loves. This message feels like a mirror for many of us, one that reveals what's been lurking just beneath the surface. If you've been feeling emotionally drained, lost in your thoughts, or unsure of your next step, this is Spirit's soft but honest whisper about why. Let's begin at the roots. The first card Spirit gave us was the Eight of Pentacles reversed. The foundation of our emotional struggle stems from burnout, disappointment, and a fractured sense of purpose. In its upright form, this card speaks of devoted craftsmanship, mastery, and steady progress. But in reverse, it shows us a collective that's lost its rhythm, not because we're not trying, but because what we're building no longer feels connected to meaning. There's this haunted feeling of, why am I even doing this? The repetitive cycles, the forced productivity, the pressure to constantly perform or fix. It's the soul feeling severed from the process. We're being shown how the old model of success, striving, proving, overworking, is no longer sustainable. Something deeper is calling, and this reversal tells us that we've outgrown what we've been trying to perfect. The next card was the King of Swords upright. Now enters the cold clarity of the King of Swords. This figure appears like a sentinel in the storm, sharp, discerning, and unwavering. He represents logic and truth, but he also signals a collective shift into over-intellectualizing. With this card, Spirit is whispering, too many of us have been surviving from the neck up. We're emotionally struggling because we've become emotionally detached. Thinking has taken the wheel, while the heart has quietly retreated to the back seat, dismissed as too much or not practical. This card doesn't blame us, it understands. It says, you had to armor your heart to get through what you did, but now the armor is weighing you down. The next card was the Nine of Wands reversed. And here we see the quiet surrender. The Nine of Wands reversed speaks to exhaustion after long-term battles. This isn't weakness. It's the fatigue that comes from always having to be on, from always having to fight for peace, protect our spaces, or defend our choices. Spirit is showing us that our struggle is rooted in spiritual fatigue. We're not lazy. We're not broken. We're bone tired from carrying things we were never meant to carry alone. Some of us are hanging on by a thread, but we've been conditioned to call it resilience instead of overwhelm. And this card gently asks, do you really have to keep holding the line alone? Or is it time to rest, to soften, to let someone or spirit help you? The next card we were given was the Fool reversed. This card brings in the fear of new beginnings, or more specifically, the fear of failing again. We're being shown that one of the deepest emotional blocks right now is the hesitation to leap into something new, not because we don't want it, but because we're afraid of repeating the past. The Fool reverse says, I remember what happened last time I trusted. I remember where that risk led. I remember what I lost. And so we pause, we stay still, we overthink, and we doubt. But that inner calling hasn't disappeared. It's just been waiting for us to feel safe enough to begin again. We were then given Death upright. Here's the sacred reckoning. The Death card arrives not as an omen of loss, but as an invitation into transmutation. Spirit is confirming that what we're emotionally mourning, the exhaustion, the confusion, the inner chaos, is all tied to the closing of an era. This is a collective ego death. We're not just grieving old habits, we're grieving old identities. The parts of us that once kept us safe, the perfectionist, the overgiver, the overachiever, the silent sufferer, they're now falling away. Death stands here like a holy gatekeeper saying, this pain has purpose, but you must release the old skin to become who you really are. And the last card Spirit gave us was the Queen of Wands upright. And finally, the emergence, the light. This is not where the story ends, it's where we rise. The Queen of Wands is the part of you that remembers your power. She rises not because she was never afraid, but because she knows her light isn't performative, it's sovereign. Spirit is showing us that beneath all the emotional heaviness is a sacred fire trying to return, a passion, a truth, a part of you that wants to shine again, but this time, not for applause, not for validation, but because it's who you've always been. This card ends our reading with a promise. You are not breaking down, you are breaking open, and what emerges will be radiant. Spirit's final whisper lets us know that there is a sacred unraveling happening in the quiet places of your life right now, not in the loud chaos, not the obvious transitions, but in the invisible threads, the ones you didn't even realize were stitched so tightly through your identity, your sense of safety, or your ability to dream. These threads are loosening, and yes, it can feel terrifying, but Spirit wants you to know you are not falling apart. You are releasing the outdated storylines that taught you to dim your own light in order to survive. The reversed Eight of Pentacles reveals the exhaustion that came from building a life on expectations that were never truly your own. You've been pouring yourself into people, projects, routines, but something inside of you has shifted. You don't just want to keep going, you want what you're doing to matter. You want to feel sacred in your every step again. And that's why the King of Swords came forward next. He isn't here to judge your logic or your strength. He's here to show you that you've been living on mental autopilot for too long. You've been analyzing instead of feeling, solving instead of grieving, planning instead of listening to your soul. And Spirit says, you needed to disconnect in order to survive the last season, but now it's time to reintroduce your heart to your voice. The Nine of Wands reversed is your soul's tired whisper. You've been holding your boundaries like sacred gates, but even warriors need to rest. This card reminds us the emotional struggle isn't a flaw, it's a signal. It's the moment the body, the soul, and the spirit all come together and say, please let us rest. Let us breathe. Let us feel safe enough to stop bracing for the next hit. So if you've been short-tempered, numb, tearful, or questioning yourself more than usual, you're not broken. You're in the sacred pause before the breakthrough. But Spirit doesn't want you to just survive this pause. They want you to transform inside it. The Fool reverse showed us how trauma and past disappointment have shaped our view of risk. You're not afraid of the new. You're afraid of what might be repeated if you trust again. Spirit sees that, but they're asking you gently now, is your avoidance keeping you safe, or is it keeping you small? It's time to rewrite what starting over means. It doesn't mean foolishness, it means faith with boundaries. And then, like a cosmic chorus, the Death card came to say what your soul already knew. This version of you is not dying because it failed, it's dissolving because it's finished. The masks, the roles, the performances, they all serve their purpose, but they were meant to be temporary. You don't need to contort to be loved anymore. You don't need to prove your worth. You are always sacred, even in your most shattered moments. This card says, you are not too late to begin again. The Queen of Wands is your reminder, not of perfection, but of presence. She doesn't shine to be seen. She shines because she just is. Her fire is sovereign. Her radiance is not up for negotiation. And Spirit is asking, will you let yourself rise again, not as who they told you to be, but as the one you were always meant to remember? You've survived too much to keep playing small. Spirit is saying this, with every unseen guide around you nodding in agreement. It is time, it is safe, and you are ready. This emotional storm that you've been moving through, it's not here to destroy you. It's here to break the dam so that your soul can finally pour forward again. You are not just in transition, you are in initiation. And from this, a whole new timeline is about to emerge, one that honors every tear that you've cried, every boundary that you've held, and every spark of faith that you refuse to let die. You are being reborn into the truest version of yourself. And Spirit, they've never left your side, even in the quiet, even in the doubt, even when you couldn't hear them. They were still holding you, still whispering, "You are not the wound, you are the healer. You are not the fear, you are the fire. You are not the silence, you are the song that's about to rise again." Thank you so much for holding space for this session. If something in the reading resonated with your heart, your path, or your soul, I would love to hear about it. Leave a comment, share your story, or just drop the flame emoji to let me know that you're walking through the fire too. I read every single comment, and I feel you more than you know. Make sure that you stay connected by subscribing and turning on the notifications. More of these spirit-led readings are on the way. And if this message found you today, it was always meant to. I love you, I appreciate you, and I will check in with you later.